Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. So it's been a while, just gonna do like a quick catch-up video here. I want to talk about two of my favorite game modes within this game and how I personally see them right now, and how maybe we could see some slight improvements to them, what I think might be classed as improvements, because then I don't want to be giving out problems without potentially thinking maybe a solution or a really helpful thing to the player, because that doesn't really help anyone. So again, I'm going to watch this back, but we'll make sure it's okay. So, first things first is Alliance War. I love Alliance War, I always have. You can see there from the bottom of the video screen. Defending War Champion, I loved my time in GT40 and being able to compete at that sort of standard of war. Now, I appreciate and understand a lot of people at that level, especially not wanting somebody maybe in tier 1 but lower to have a voice, or maybe just have some influence. But I'm going to put it out there anyway for people to think of and see. Now, obviously the first thing we have to talk about is the current situation with Alliance War, and how we have this thing at the moment where matchmaking is temporarily disabled. Now, the last time we could find the match was 5 days ago, as you can see here, and we got a bye. Now, I appreciate the fact that they've taken it down with the intention of making sure when we do the set and forget, or whatever it's being called now, we get it right. Like, realistically, if Kabam gets something like this and as big as this right, yes, okay, there was a little slight matchmaking before, but this is a big W that they need to get right, because this will turn a lot of people off if it's wrong. So I appreciate the fact there's more time without it, in the attempt that we get it right. The kicker to this is that obviously right now we don't know anything about it. We were told we get 2 weeks testing. So again, really hoping to see if it does get fixed sometime soon, that we get an announcement maybe of an even extended off season, just so again we can keep testing these things without actually going into a war season straight away with it coming into effect. We need to check and test things like how the masters are going to lay out, how the defenders are going to lay out, things like that. We need to get it all actually properly done, because right now all we've had is Theorycraft, and even now I can click on here and place heroes, and it'll put me into a map where I can just randomly put my champions. But we need to learn a little bit more from the experience and the time. But on the hindsight to that, and in an annoying terms, in terms of the player base, and just from the concept I've got from the community, speaking to even just a couple of my friends who are in the game, is that this is a long time now without Alliance War, and especially the war rewards. War rewards are some of the best rewards in the game. I don't think people would say the best, because of Battlegrounds and you can constantly buy things from the store, but I think just from participation and depending on what level you play at, Alliance War can give you enough to maybe just even stay at a comfortable level with matching up to your peers around you. Now, because of how long it's been, I don't want to call for compensation, because we don't need to be compensated for anything. We're just saving our own time. We're able to go out and touch more grass and blah blah blah. That's fine. But what I am asking and thinking about is it possible to just everybody just get a blanket reward thing for, okay, you've missed 8 weeks of Alliance War. Here you go, have maybe something like Plat 2, something like that, that's not going to destroy the game. And by no means should we be saying that Plat 2 rewards just being given out to everybody will destroy the game. People shouldn't have a leg to stand on to moan about this, because they haven't worked or done anything to deserve these rewards. So if people just get given extra 6-star shards, extra T6 basics, extra T3 alpha, whatever else they get, maybe a Nexus here and there. I understand that the Battlegrounds rewards were buffed, slightly to cover for the fact we didn't have an alliance war. But realistically, the buff to the rewards, it doesn't kind of hold a torch to any form of masters, probably Plat 1 or anything above that in terms of reward scaling. So it's also then pushed a lot of people into Battlegrounds, which I like the idea of. I do think obviously more people that play it, if they enjoy it, hopefully it's a game mode they stick to. But it has meant, should I say, that the Battlegrounds here has just gone crazy in terms of the score. Like, you can see the top 3 players already, Biro Man, Kurt, and Andy at the time when I'm recording this video. They're all on 700 plus score, basically 750 plus score. Yesterday they were split by like 3 points at one point. To already be at 700 score with still 8 days left in the season is wild. Like, I know I played a game earlier to get back to 305 points, but 2 days ago, like when these milestones here were resetting, just reset, I was in Mysterium 2 with 305 points. So within 2 days of not really playing, I've dropped from mid Mysterium 2 all the way past Mysterium 3, and now I'm in Quantum 1. Now, quite high in Quantum 1, don't get me wrong. You can see a few people around me here. But the scores, there's so many people in here this month. The scores are just going crazy. And it's wild to just watch how busy people are getting. Like Celestial 5. What's the cutoff for this now? This must be... So this is 450 now. So by the time the season ends, if you want Celestial 5, you're probably going to have to put up maybe 540, 550 as a score, I'd say, to be able to think, okay, I've got a good chance here of getting Celestial 5. Like, it is nuts. Now, Battlegrounds in itself is something that I don't take too seriously. I like the competition. I think it's a fun game mode. I don't want to stress myself out or burn myself out over this. And for a lot of people, the burnout is real. It is crazy. It is hurting a lot of people. Just because of the scores alone, the seriousness of it, people's trying to get a gauge of whether they should even think to look for Season 10 of Battlegrounds, to whether they could maybe make Vancouver or not. It is really tough, and I think a couple of changes in BGs could really hopefully make a big difference to a lot of people, and maybe a little bit more fun to it as well. So we have the milestone things, that's all fine. All the victory track, for me, that's still fine. We'll do sorting out all the future seeding stuff and whatever, that's fine. That's just what it is. I think of personally at least 2 big changes that I think would make it a lot better. And so when you're going to search here, maybe have a third option that's not a quote-unquote competitive option, that's maybe more of like a casual mode. So within this casual mode, you can still search for people. It'll search for people around the tier that you're in, but you don't plus or minus your rating from playing in that match. It's just a for fun, or maybe for content creators, it's just a come against someone with maybe a decent sized roster that's the same, or just a similar environment where they can record a little bit of gameplay. Yes, we have friendlies, and I love friendlies. I play friendlies quite a lot. You can see there's a couple of my friends that are online now, a couple of alliance mates too. But we don't. Sometimes you have a point where you don't have many friends on, and you're trying to ask people all the time, but then you feel guilty because you're taking their time up. Like, why can't we just maybe have this little like less competitive mode where we can still casually have fun in what is a very fun game mode? Like, most people really enjoy Battlegrounds, and that's the way it should be. It's the latest mode, the great rewards, great concept, good. As long as you can get a good draft most of the time, people are pretty happy. It's one of them things. So I think if we could maybe implement some more form of like casual mode, where we could still have healthy competition, but it doesn't hurt you in terms of your rating, because people go on really high highs, win a few matches, but then they might catch a losing streak. And seeing people catch a losing streak, losing so many points, like they get in their head, they have a really low low, like it's really, really tough to see. So I think sometimes maybe just having that side thing could just be a way to scratch an itch. Like, oh, I want to play this, but I don't really want to hurt my score. Here we go, let me do this casual mode, scratch, scratch, scratch. And that's the way it is. I think, again, for content creators, it could be a really good method too. The other thing is about friendly matches itself. So I'm going to go over to the store actually quickly, just to talk about these. Now, again, for me, I'm very lucky. I have a lot of friends, especially alliance mates, who are very, very competitive and very high up in Battlegrounds. So I get ultimately like brilliant experience seeing from people who don't really play Battlegrounds in like friends outside this alliance to some of the ultra competitive people. Now, these shuffle signets here, they are very hit and miss in their community. Some people love them, some people hate them. And I can understand both sides of the coin, that's fair enough. But what I'm going to ask for, and hopefully maybe we could see if it could be a possibility, is that if you do a friendly match, so you're just playing with a friend, that these re-rolls here don't cost you anything. Because right now, if you go into a friendly match with someone and say, I don't know, I was trying to help any of the YouTubers that I come across quite often, maybe they wanted to record some gameplay or something, and we were looking for a very specific champion, very specific matchup, but we might have to load up 25 Battlegrounds games to be able to get that perfect scenario where they both appear, just because of RNG. Now, what we could do in the meantime is we could just, in between each match, do one reroll. But right now, that would cost you 390 tokens to be able to do that reroll. Like, I'm lucky I have 12 because I don't really tend to use them. But for people buying these every day, like, these rerolls are precious to them. So why can't we just maybe have that in a friendly match where, again, friendlies don't mean anything. A little bit of bragging rights between you and your buddy. But that is all there is to it. Like, why can't we just have that extra little moment where we can just click, oh, okay, look, now this changes it up, we can still carry on having a laugh. Maybe it completely makes your deck, maybe it completely ruins your deck. That's the chances you're always going to take with a reroll, that's the RNG, that's the draft. But I do feel like just in friendly matches, having the ability to have these free rerolls would be a really, really incredible change that could really help a lot of people out. I'm going to talk about them, but again, it's kind of one of them. It is what it is. I'm sure they're trying everything they can to fix them. There is the bugs in the game. If I don't talk about them in any way in this video, then I'm going to get slammed for not talking about them. But yeah, the little disconnect bugs, the little spamming the I'm ready button can sometimes costing you. Sometimes your pre-fights and that don't load on if you've not managed to, like, if your connection goes a little bit weird or the server goes a bit weird in that time. They're things that Kabam's going to have to obviously work on. Now, no one's going to be able to give you an ETA, I don't think, because there's probably loads of little things in that situation for them to figure out. But overall, again, it's more of a video just to say I love Alliance War, I love Battlegrounds, I like the game, even if I'm heavily out-rostered and getting destroyed constantly, I find it funny. But it's more the fact of little changes and little tweaks, hopefully, that could really benefit many people playing the game, their enjoyment factor, and just what we can get out of it. Because right now, Battlegrounds is the busiest, especially in Battlegrounds, is the busiest we've ever seen it. I can't remember a time where we've ever seen this many people getting stuck into it. Like, I'm pretty sure from our Alliance score, I won't show it on the screen because that's not really fair, but I don't even think we'll hit top 50 with our Alliance score because of how much other people are playing right now. Like, I know I've put up a score with my Elders marks now, but I'm getting to the point of saying I'm not going to use any more because everybody else is using that many and playing that many games anyway. That me just using mine is kind of wasteful. I may as well just use energy now. But if you did enjoy the video, leave a like. If you want to see more, I keep promising I'm going to keep coming back and doing more and more and more commonly, but I just never seem to. So if you do enjoy it, obviously subscribe, and you can come back for any future thing and get notified for it. And I really want to know in the comments, like, what things do people... Don't be hateful here. Don't be, like, really passive-aggressive or anything like that. If you have a problem, let's try and, especially in the comments, let me hear it, but let me hear what your possible solution to that problem would be too. I've given a couple of things in this video that I really wanted to talk about and I thought would be better, but yeah, we'll see. Thank you very much for watching.